Hey, folks, we're still on the trail of Buford Pusser. Hey, we found out last week, week before last, that maybe Buford is the one that killed his wife. Then we got word that maybe he wasn't. So tonight we got the other side of the story, if you want to call it that. Mr. Bill Harmening in the studio tonight. He's going to be telling us about his book and how he thinks the TBI investigation all was wrong. So get ready, we'll be right back.
The Mike Weatherford Show is proud to announce we are now officially powered by TEC. If their fiber optic internet service can handle everything we throw at it here in the studio, from videos to calls and live streams, you better believe they can handle your home or business too. If speed, stability, and service is important to you, you can count on TEC. Thanks, TEC. Now let's get to the show.
Recorded live in the studios of Brewer Street Mafia. This is a Red Dog Fred production.
And now, your number one rated show, The Mike Weatherford Show. Here's your host, Mike Weatherford.
Hey, welcome back to the Mike Weatherford Show. I'm your host, Mike Weatherford. Like I said, we got a great show tonight. If I don't take a nap, because, man, I'm telling you, nannies from Huntington, Tennessee, come in and showed up and showed out. They had homemade spaghetti with meatballs, roast salad. They bought at the meal tonight. Hey, it was great. Thanks, Nanny. If you ain't tried them over there in Huntington, Tennessee, I suggest you call them. Find them. They're in Huntington, Tennessee, and tell them Mike sent you. It was a great for them to come over here and feed us, all my guests and all my crew tonight. That was great. Rick, was that not wonderful?
Great. Man, if you haven't tried it, you need to go over there tomorrow.
You have, man. How you been doing?
Man, I woke up above the ground today, so it's all that matters,
You
huh?
was looking at the pretty side of flowers.
Oh, man, what a blessing.
You know, we talked about last week it was Bigfoot.
That's right.
Now we're back to Buford.
Dr. Buford.
And guess what? We
B&B.
That's right, the BBs.
The BBs.
We got a lot of great stuff coming up next week. Next week.
And Bo and BBs. And
That's
yeah,
right.
we got it going on.
We got a great show next week going to come up. We're going to kind of end this series about Buford next week. We got two great guests going to be in here. We're going to talk to them. And you might even find out what I and my associate producer, what we think after this investigation. You know, what we think and yourself, what you think about Buford. That's
Who done it?
Who done it?
Who done it? Who done it?
That's right.
Who done it?
We've heard both sides of it. We're going to hear both sides
That's
after
right.
tonight. Then maybe the next week we're going to have some guests in here who's going to tell us a little bit more. Then we're going to finally decide, like a trial. We're going to
Final conclusion.
Final conclusion. Hey, welcome back, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Mike. Thank
And
you.
also tonight I have got the associate producer. He is always doing something crazy, and I don't know what he's going to do tonight, but I've got him in here on the set tonight. Everybody welcome Ken Atkinson. Welcome back, Ken.
What's going on, man?
How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm here to hear Mr. Harmening's side and really enjoyed the book so far. So,
Yeah. Like I said, last time we had the other side on, and to be fair, you know, we're not the Mike Weatherford Show is not, pushing either side. We just want to hear the facts and let the viewers, which I believe that's what needs to be. We let the viewers make their mind up. You agree?
I do.
There's a lot of wiles out there. I got to give you that. It makes you wonder. Who did it, right?
It's a lot. It's been about 5 hours on the TBI investigation myself, and
right, it's just crazy.
It's a lot. Yeah. You
ready to get ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Like I said, last couple of weeks ago, we had another guest on here that said, Mr. Mike Elam, he said that he thought that Buford is one that was responsible for his wife's death. And he told us the reason why he thought it was. And he made me even say, wow, there's something maybe a little bit strange there. But, I think what better way than to hear the other side. I think that's what we're lacking nowadays. We all want to hear one side and make our mind up. And what we want to do here on the Mike Weatherford Show is give you both sides. And to do that tonight, I want to welcome to my show Mr. Bill Harmening. Welcome to the show, Bill.
Thank you, Mike.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you, man. You got to eat a meal.
I did.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
That was special. But I appreciate you coming on, man. I mean, it's a very controversial subject.
It is.
People's emotions get involved in it. And like I told you, we're not promoting either side of it. We just want people to hear both sides of it. And I think equally fair, and I think you'll have to agree, both sides believe their side.
Sure. That's true. Yep.
It's true. Tell me, who is Bill Harmening?
Well, I'm originally from Illinois. I spent 37 years in law enforcement between Springfield and Chicago. I retired in 2018 and chased my grandkids around and ended up around Nashville. So I now live south of Nashville, not too far from here.
Right.
In law enforcement, I probably 12 of those years I was with a downstate sheriff's office, much like McNairy County. It was a rural, small county.
In Illinois. There is small towns in Illinois.
Yeah, it is.
Well, they're all small towns in Illinois, but for one.
Yeah.
I was in a small county just outside Springfield. I ended up the chief deputy of the department. I was also the lead investigator. During that time, I was a police academy instructor. I taught criminalistics. I taught crime scenes. I taught all the state-mandated behavioral science that new cadets had to go through. I then went to the state of Illinois as a special agent and spent the next 25 years there until I retired.
Special agent.
Special agent, I did primarily financial crimes, investment fraud. That was in Chicago. Anything that had the appearance of an investment, a criminal investment fraud, my unit worked. So we worked anything from Nigerian schemes on the west side of Chicago all the way down to oil and gas schemes in southern Illinois, which is not too far from where we're sitting.
No, it's not far, yeah.
Yeah. So
wow. So you think that might be where you got your experience to investigate Buford and write a book about it?
Well, much of it came from there. During that time, I was also a professor of forensic psychology and criminology at Roosevelt University in Chicago, also Washington University in St. Louis. I certainly expanded my knowledge of investigation, so teaching it on an academic level. One of the things I taught was investigative science. Starting in 2014, I started testifying as an expert witness in state and federal courts around the country on the subject of police shootings, police use of force, police practices. I did a few cases right up front. I ended up the designated expert on the Michael Brown case in Ferguson, which at the time I was at Washington University, which was about 4 miles from ground zero of the riots. And at the time I was doing commentary on local media about the riots, providing some commentary about the tactics being used by the police and so forth. And that led to a couple calls from lawyers, wanted me to take a look at their civil rights cases, to testify as an expert, reinvestigate the case. And as I said here today, I've done just over 350 cases in 42 different states since 2014. When I do those cases, I reinvestigate the case. And so the job of an independent expert is to do that and then go into court and essentially educate the court, educate the judge or the jury about what happened, and provide an opinion about the appropriateness of the officer's use of force or some other practice that took place during the case. So I've got a great deal of training in the investigative sciences. I'm an instructor in that area, both on an academic level and in law enforcement at the police academy. So I've got a great deal of experience.
Wow, you got a long background in this then. So what got you, had you moved already to Tennessee by the time you got in interested in the Buford Pusser case?
I did. I'm not one that spent a lot of time on this. I just got interested in it last summer, actually. It's probably the fastest I've ever written a book. This is my 12th book.
What is your other books about?
The other books range anywhere from criminal justice subjects to forensic psychology. I just finished another book prior to this about a murder case in Nashville.
Right.
And then I even have a couple children's books I've written, which I greatly enjoy.
Yeah, that's grandkid children stuff right there.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm pretty much retired from everything except being a grandpa. So.
I got you.
But to answer your question, I never gave Buford a thought in the last 30 years. He certainly had an influence on me as a young deputy. I think, I've talked about, even in my classes, I've talked about 1973. We not only had Walking Tall, we had Serpico.
Yeah.
And those were two movies and two individuals that became symbols in law enforcement, Frank Serpico and Buford Pusser. So he certainly had an influence on me. To this day, I've never seen the second movie. And it's just been 2 weeks ago, I learned there was a third movie.
Right.
I've never seen it.
Right.
So living in Nashville, I've got a lot of contacts in law enforcement, including the TBI.
Right.
Last summer, I caught wind of the fact that they were reinvestigating this. I heard that they were going to go public with the fact that they believe Buford murdered his wife, which I thought on its surface was a bit absurd. I also learned that the TBI had no evidence. I learned that they had lost all the evidence from the ambush. And as it turns out, when I got into the file, I discovered it was over 40 years ago they lost the evidence.
Wow.
And they have absolutely...
What evidence did they lose?
Well, they lost the empty shell casings.
Yeah, that's right.
They lost the bullet fragments, the blood samples, even some pictures from the crime scene. They lost everything.
Is that not typical sometimes?
Oh, no, that's not typical.
Oh, it's not?
No. And I have to say, I've done about a dozen police shooting cases in Tennessee. All of those cases are investigated by the TBI, so I've had a great deal of experience with the TBI. I have my own opinion about their competency level, and certainly losing evidence in a murder case and having
How
no idea.
How did that happen?
They have no idea. It's gone. They don't know where it went.
You think from moving buildings, like people, are you thinking just incompetence?
I think it's just incompetence. I mean, a murder case is never closed because there's no statute of limitations on murder.
Right.
It's switched to a cold case status. So
Right.
you protect that evidence. And so to answer your question, I learned that they had no evidence. So
Yeah.
I was quite interested to watch the press conference because you can't solve a homicide with no evidence. And I was kind of curious as to how they were going to do this.
So you'd already heard they was going to find him. Or
Yes.
not really guilty. They didn't find him
No,
guilty.
no.
They basically said if he was alive today, they would carry it to a grand jury. Is that not basically what they said, or did I get that wrong?
No, that's exactly right.
Okay.
Mark Davidson said he believed they had probable cause evidence. That's a very low burden of proof
Right.
in the criminal justice system. It's just enough to get before a grand jury.
Right.
Now, I have the opinion there's not a grand jury anywhere that would have indicted him and returned a true bill based on what they have. They essentially have nothing, and we can talk about that.
Yeah.
But I watched the press conference. I wanted to see if Davidson would be honest with the public about the missing evidence. He wasn't. He never mentioned it. And he said some other things that, as an investigator, concerned me greatly. One of the things he said was that during the autopsy, it concerned me that they even exhumed Pauline's body for when their only target's been dead for 50 years. And we could talk about the legal authority for doing that, but that concerned me. And
I hate to buddy.
No.
What about that concerns you about exhuming her body? Why would that? If you're going to do a reopen a case, or it's never been closed, but if you're going to investigate a case, wouldn't you want the body to be exhumed? Or where am I missing here, Bill?
Yeah, there's.
I can't call you Bill because I can't say your last name real good.
If you look in the Tennessee statutes, there are two reasons why you can exhume a body to do an autopsy. Number one is the body got buried too quickly before an autopsy could be done. Mm-hmm. That doesn't apply here. It was the medical examiner himself, Dr. Peeler, who did a very thorough examination of Pauline's body before they buried her. He's the one that would make the decision about an autopsy, and he chose not to do one. So that's out of play. The second reason is to gather evidence, and these are three critical words, in a pending criminal investigation. Now, I don't see a pending criminal investigation here because their only target's been dead for 5 decades.
Right.
I think it was more of a media stunt than anything. But so it really boils down to whether or not the courts would accept this as a pending criminal investigation when the target's been dead for so long.
Why would they want so you don't think their intent I don't know the correct word, so you have to understand me. I'm not in the legal stuff. If their intent wasn't investigation, you think their intent was to do what now?
Well, I think their intent with the autopsy was to do one thing. They were looking for any way they could to say that there was an inconsistency in Buford's statement.
Why would they want that?
Because they wanted to destroy his legacy. And you couldn't convict him, obviously. He's dead.
That's right. Because I have had people say, why does it really matter? And I have to take up for them and say, well, it does matter if somebody did commit murder. I think it is. It never does not matter. But I can understand your side. They intended just to go in there just to slander his name.
I have no problem with them reinvestigating the case.
Right.
I have a problem with them doing the disinterment of Pauline's body.
Right.
Because I think, and what a lot of people don't realize, the ashes of 2 of her children are on top of her.
Oh, no.
That was never disclosed to the court by Mark Davidson, who wrote the petition to get the court order. So he wasn't just disturbing one grave, he was disturbing 3.
That was never brung out?
No, I've got the petition. In fact, I've got it with me. The only thing that he brought out was they had new evidence, and that was the gun. And I know we're going to talk about the gun.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
But so I had some real problems with the press conference, and one of the things he said was she was found with a healed, broken nose. Now, a lot of people have talked about this, and he made the comment that was indicative of domestic violence. You forensically, you cannot get from a broken nose to domestic violence without having some evidence in between, and he offered none.
My last guest said that I didn't know that Pauline had been married twice, and she got divorced in her first marriage from domestic violence. Could that have been where the broken nose come from? Did they know how long it had happened?
No, and it could come from anywhere. I have a healed broken nose from the 2nd grade.
Yeah.
Now, your guest didn't know about the domestic violence in the first marriage. I don't think anybody did until I brought out.
Oh, really?
I went to Chicago and got her divorce filings from 1956.
Well, it's out there on the internet.
It's because I put it out there.
Oh, okay. Well,
I've got it with me.
Make everybody understand, you and I have not discussed this prior to you coming on the show. I don't do that with the other guests. I didn't do it with you. We did not discuss all of this. Okay.
What surprised me about the TBI is there's basic investigative steps they didn't bother to take. One of them is to simply go and get her divorce filing from 1956 from her first marriage. And I did, and it clearly describes the significant physical abuse she suffered from her first marriage to Pete Vance, including eyewitness testimony. I've got the hearing transcripts. Now, I think if Mark Davidson had known that, he probably never would have made that statement during the press conference, but the TBI didn't tell him because the TBI didn't take the time to go find that file. So he made the statement, and of course the next day in the paper, what are the headlines? Buford Pusser abused his wife before he murdered her. So I thought it was a bit unethical to even make that statement. So frankly, right then and there is when I decided I'm just going to level the playing field a little bit here, and I'm going to go out and do my own investigation the way I investigate police shootings.
How did you start your investigation?
Well, I started by gathering up as much information as I could. I really focused on the gun because that's an important piece of this. And frankly, it took me about 3 weeks to totally debunk that story. And I got the divorce file. I got a number of different files that the TBI never bothered to get.
Do they know what caliber gun was used?
Yes.
They do know it was a 30 caliber. That part's true, right?
30 caliber carbine. Nobody disputes that.
Okay. Just start telling me now, and I'll have to, I'm a big mouth. If you open up a rabbit hole, I'm gonna warn you, Bill. I'm gonna go down it. And I hope I don't interrupt you, but
that's fine.
Go ahead and start presenting your case to my viewers.
Well, sure. I want to show you a couple of examples of just how far out in the weeds this investigation got. And I want to make one thing clear. The TBI has their own experts, blood spatter experts, ballistic experts. None of them chose to participate in this investigation. That's the part they don't tell you. So
why?
Well, I think they didn't want to risk their accreditations and their credentials by
on a 50-year-old case.
Yes.
I can see that.
So they had to go out and find their own experts, private experts, Davidson and Mike Parson, the TBI investigator on this case. And that that created some major problems. And I'm going to show you a good one. Now, Kevin, if you could bring up picture number 1.
Oh, so you sent us pictures. Okay.
Yeah, and I've got them queued up back there.
Okay.
This picture comes from the TBI file. It's a nice little pile of 8 casings. Okay, and that's from ambush site number 2. There were 2 different ambush sites.
Right.
Okay. Now, the story goes, and the story they've adopted is that a kid by the name of Dennis Hathcock, who was the son of W.O. Hathcock, who was one of Buford's bitter enemies. He was a state liner. He owned the Plantation Club.
Can I butt in just a minute? Was them shells found just in that order, or did somebody pile them up?
Well, I'm getting to that.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Bill.
So Dennis Hathcock shows up before anybody to the first ambush site except for one constable. Constable was already there. He knew he was a troublemaking kid and told him to get lost. Dennis was on a motorcycle. He takes off for the state line a couple miles away, and he comes across another spot in the road where there's a bunch of empty shell casings in the road. And he goes back. At the same spot, he found brain matter. He found parts of Pauline's skull. So that was the second ambush site. Now, he goes back to the first site, and he waits for everybody to show up, including Warren Jones, the lead TBI agent, and purportedly takes him and the photographer back down to where those casings were. And the photographer, a guy by the name of Bill Way, takes that picture. He's a newspaper photographer.
Gotcha.
And Warren Jones employed him that day to take the crime scene photos. Okay, enough of that. Let's skip ahead now over half a century. Dennis Hathcock is now in his late 70s. Mike Parson, in the new investigation, interviews him, has him go back through that story. Picture number 2, Kevin. First of all, he interviews him about the casings that he saw, and Dennis describes them. And I've got the report here. He says basically he saw these casings in a straight line on the road at the 4 o'clock position from where he saw the brain and skull matter. Said nothing about a pile of casings along the side of the road. Well, as soon as the interview is done, Mike Parson has him draw a map. This is the map that he drew, showing him where the casings were. Now, that in and of itself is kind of ridiculous after 57, 58 years to have somebody draw a map to show where those casings were. You can see he shows the straight line of casings just as he described, but now...
Where would that be at this picture? The bottom or the top would be the straight line, would you say?
It would be on the left side. You can see the casings lined up at an angle. There.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Some people call them holes. He called them holes.
Okay.
But then, lo and behold, what shows up on the map? A nice little pile of 8 casings on the side. Something he hadn't mentioned just a few minutes earlier, and the same number of casings that's in the picture that Bill Way took. Now, this wouldn't be that big of a deal, except for one thing. Now in comes the expert, a guy by the name of Eric Warren from Memphis. He's a ballistics expert. And in his report, he offered the opinion that Buford staged the crime scene. And one of the reasons he did that was because of that pile of casings. He said guns don't naturally eject in a nice little pile of casings.
I got to agree with that. It's kind of strange. I noticed that right off the bat. I think everybody does.
I agree with that, too.
Yeah.
But there's a major problem with that. Those aren't the right casings in the picture. If you go back to picture number 1, you see their bottleneck pictures, or bottleneck casings. Those are 30-06 casings.
They exactly are.
Yeah.
They're long shells.
A 30 caliber carbine doesn't shoot bottleneck casings. It shoots straight wall casings. I saw that.
Wow. So that is okay.
Well, anyway, so I confirmed that with a firearms expert. You know, shout out to Matt Smith from Georgia. I confirmed it with him. He's handled many of these weapons. He said, nope, those are 30-06 probably, but they're not 30 caliber carbine. 30 caliber carbine, again, shoots a straight wall casing. Those casings had nothing to do with the ambush. So what do we have now? We have an expert in 2024 saying Buford staged the crime scene because of an erroneous map based on a picture of the wrong casings.
Where did them casings come from?
Well, the area was well known for target shooting. and they would shoot turtles down there. It's even in the TBI file. They also found a 44 Magnum casing. They found 22 casings
over that creek.
Here's what you might be thinking. Well, what happened to the 30 caliber casings? They were already gone from the crime scene. A guy by the name of Bill Fullwood, and this is documented in the TBI file. Bill Fullwood showed up before Dennis Hathcock got down there, and he picked up all the 30 caliber casings, 15 of them, and he left. And when everybody got there, including Warren Jones, from the lead investigator from the TBI, he went down there and gave them to him. Warren had him mark each one of them, and those are the casings that disappeared. And Warren wrote a report documenting that, which I have a copy of.
Wow.
Never said anything about Dennis Hathcock leading him to the casings. So the bottom line is we have an expert in Eric Warren coming into this thing in 2024 saying Buford staged the crime scene because of a map that's based on a picture of the wrong casings.
Wow. That put it back at casing. I'm a gun guy myself. I should have noticed that. I didn't notice that. That is a neck down, either 308. It looks like a 30-06.
It's 30-06, yeah.
Yeah, it's long enough. Wow.
And by the way, I'm not a firearms expert. I confirmed that with the firearms expert.
Right.
So
where did these come from?
Well, there's casings all over this area.
So somebody just picked them up and put them there and took a picture and said, that's what we're going to do.
Well, they were sitting there already, and Bill Way came up and took a picture of them, and somehow that picture ends up in the TBI file 50-some years later.
So you don't think that was intentional, probably?
No,
not.
And I don't think Mark Davidson or Mike Parson to this day, they probably think those are the casings from the ambush, which is quite impossible.
But that was evidence they tried to use right there. That is evidence. Wow.
Yeah, the Dennis Hathcock map is based on that picture.
Have you got a picture of a 30 caliber casing we can compare it to?
I do.
Oh. Wow. I don't know if we can show it or not, but I'd like to see if you've got a picture that I could show up maybe. I'm not putting you on the spot, I hope.
Oh, no.
That is something, Ken.
That's what 30 caliber carbine casings look like.
I'm going to put this up there. Can y'all zoom in on this maybe possibly? Now, I'm going to kind of hold this over. I want y'all to do you imagine to put that picture back up there he had. If you can, if that's possible. You see the neck down area? Now, put it back on the one I'm holding in my hand for the viewers. Now, all I can go by is what Bill's telling me. Now, see, this right here is straight.
Yeah,
right there where the bullet is, where the casing and the bullet go together, there's no neck where it necks down and squeezes down for a 30 caliber. Now, put it back on the other picture. You can plainly see that neck right there.
Yeah.
Now, that's what Bill's giving me. That is absolutely not the same two shells.
No, and there's another problem. I'm relatively certain that Dennis Hathcock, again, now in his later 70s, who made no mention of a pile of casings a couple minutes earlier, I'm fairly certain Mike Parsons showed him that picture and said, "Oh, draw your map. Be sure you include these 8 casings."
Well, let's hope not.
Well,
you know what I'm saying, Bill?
It would be entirely inappropriate for an investigator to do that.
Exactly.
Wow. But there's no other explanation. So
that kind of does away, and those casings are gone. There's nothing left.
All gone.
So, wow.
So I show that, and to give you just one example, there are many examples of how really utterly incompetent this investigation was, because it wasn't a real TBI investigation. It was just a couple people that were out there doing this. They didn't have their own experts. Now, Eric Warren, the expert, is the only one who would talk to me. We talked for 6 weeks. I've got hundreds of emails going back and forth. Nice guy, and he was nice enough to talk to me. I eventually confronted him with this, and I demanded that he retract his report, or at least that part of it. He essentially admitted that I had him on that, but he worked for free. And he's a former TBI employee, long-term employee, worked for free. His attitude was, I don't want to go back there. I did it. What's done is done. I work for free. I'm not going to. He refused to retract his report.
Wow. Ken, what does that make you think, Ricky? Y'all two help me here. Ken, you got anything?
How many cold cases from 57 years ago actually get solved like that? And you just...
Well, Well, more and more do because of DNA. But that's the only way.
Yeah, because you don't have any shell casings, and the pictures you got, there's 2 different shell casings by a long shot.
Yeah, and if they had the original shell casing, it's a long shot, but if they had the original, there's a chance they could get DNA off those shell casings.
I agree, yeah.
They had to be stored properly all these years because it degrades pretty quickly if it doesn't. But that's how they're solving 50-year-old
I don't know what to say.
murders.
I was Bill, to be honest with you, I figured I could pick some holes in your stuff, but you got to find something I can pick a hole in. That right there, Ken, help me. Is that not obvious?
The casings, yeah.
Yes, the casings are obvious.
Well, let me give you another one. Maybe you can poke a hole at it.
Okay. All right.
The same guy, Eric Warren, also offered the opinion in the same report that Pauline was shot at close range. Now, when we say close range in investigations, we mean 4 feet or less.
Okay.
There is certain types of evidence we always look for in a shooting to see if it is close range.
Powder burns seem like be one of them.
We really do it with suicides because we want to know that it was actually a suicide. And powder burn, stippling, what we call stippling. When you shoot a gun, that's what it looks like when you shoot a .357. Yeah. That's the gun supposedly they're saying Buford put in his mouth and pulled the trigger, if you can imagine that.
Not that gun right there, bro, no, but a .357.
.357 Magnum. That's what it actually looks like. You can't see it in the daytime. It happens so fast. But I carried a .357. It would completely
You think
destroy
there'd be a little bit of, what words you using? Stripping?
Stippling.
Gunpowder for us old country boy.
Yeah, well.
And there might be a little bit of burning, too.
Yeah, well, certainly for Buford. But let's get back to Pauline.
Sure.
There's 2 medical examinations of Pauline. There's Dr. Peeler in 1967. Medical examiner did a thorough visual examination of Pauline. He didn't do an autopsy. That was his prerogative. And he filed a report on it. He specifically looked for stippling, muzzle imprints, singed hair, burnt skin, all the things that tell us it was a close-range shot. Nothing. All these years later, Dr. Harrell in Memphis did the autopsy. She did the same thing. Even all these years later, Pauline's skin was still relatively intact. It was what we call highly desiccated, which is leather-like.
Great and a bomb in him.
Yeah, but the stippling would still be present because stippling, you cannot wash it off. It's unburned gunpowder and other residue from the barrel that comes out with such force with the shot that it actually tattoos the skin. It has to wear off. So she has no evidence of a close contact or a close range or a contact wound, yet Eric Warren is offering the opinion in his report that she did. So I confronted him about it, and I said, how in the world do you come up with that opinion against the opinions of 2 pathologists? And he says, it's the handwritten note by Dr. Peeler. If Kevin would put up number 3. And if you want to zero in on the highlighted part a little bit.
I got that over there, Mike.
Do I?
Yeah, that first sheet you've got, that's it.
Right
Top,
here?
yeah. That's
this one?
This,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is a handwritten note from 1967 that Eric Warren said was Dr. Peeler's handwritten note. Mike Parson has a report where he also says it's Dr. Peeler's handwritten note. And you can see the note where it says, chin, left to right, marks indicative of powder residue. Okay? Doesn't say what kind of powder. Doesn't say if it's gunpowder, makeup powder, powdered donuts. I don't know. It doesn't say.
I would think he was meant gunpowder.
Well, Eric Warren assumed it's gunpowder, but I saw a problem with this, with this handwritten note. Number one, I already was familiar. I'm a handwriting analyst also.
Right.
That's an important skill in financial crimes. Yeah. I've been trained to do it.
I got you.
I had a problem with this because I've seen Dr. Peeler's handwriting. That's not Dr. Peeler's handwriting. So I decided to do an extensive search of all 2,400 pages of the TBI file to look for that writing. It took me about 10 seconds. It was the very next piece of paper. And I determined that Dr. Peeler didn't write the note. It was TBI agent John Sloan who wrote the report. Now, and I'll show you how we determined that. Kevin, number 4. Here they are side by side. On the left, you see the supposed Dr. Peeler report or the handwritten note. On the right, you see a known example of John Sloan's writing. His name's even at the top. It's an inventory he wrote. When we do handwriting analysis, we look at pressure, we look at slant, and we look at individual characteristics of letters. I just circled 2 of many. Look at the P on both of them. He has an open P, the way he writes his P's. In other words, he doesn't just close the loop, he goes on through the stem.
Right there.
And I also circled the E's. He has a open E. He doesn't loop the top of his E.
Right. The other side, Kevin.
Yep. There's your P.
Right. It's kind of going through.
There's your E.
That's a different E.
Well, it doesn't matter if he's printing or writing cursive. He does not close his E's. And there's a number of others.
Right. So you think that that was added?
No. Dr. Peeler didn't write that note. John Sloan did.
He's
TBI agent.
Why would he do that?
Well, it's his note. And we don't know when he wrote the note. We don't know if he wrote it contemporaneously with Dr. Peeler's examination. But the point is, Dr. Peeler did not write the note. John Sloan did. And we can show that 10 different ways with a handwriting analysis. Now, why that's important. Again, he's talking about a smudge on Pauline's chin that looks like some type of powder. Dr. Peeler has a report of his examination. If that was gunpowder, it would be on there. He makes no mention of a smudge on Pauline's chin. None. So whatever it was, they just wiped it off. Now, why this is important is because the expert, Eric Warren, that's the only thing he is basing his opinion on, that Pauline was shot at close range. And it's not even Dr. Peeler's note. If you were to ask Mark Davidson or Mike Parson today who wrote that note, they're probably going to tell you that's Dr. Peeler's note. It's not. It's John Sloan's note.
Wow. Wow.
So those are 2 examples of really...
well, there's a reason for that. Are they trying to? Is it go back to they're trying to make Buford guilty?
Yeah. Well, here's the reason. There's no chance of ever having a prosecution, so they weren't bound by the typical restraints and constraints we have in an investigation. They had a blank slate to say whatever they wanted to say. So they got lazy. They made assumptions that are incorrect. They didn't even find basic files like the divorce file and the gun file we haven't even talked about yet. They just made some quick assumptions and said Buford probably killed his wife, and we haven't heard from him since.
Wow. I mean, the other side, let's say the TBI side, they make some good points for somebody like me that don't understand, and even you, Ken, you've read it, and Ricky, you've read it. Ken has tried to read the FBI report. I haven't even attempted it. He sent me some tidbits of it here and there that he thinks is interesting. Ken does a great job at that. But my attention span is really limited when it comes to 2,500 pages. I'm just not going to read it.
Yeah.
Because it kind of, I don't know why they can't put it in one page.
Well, I think that's by design. Let me tell you the truth about that file. In 1967 and 68, they did a very thorough investigation. The TBI did. Those were old school investigators, and they did a good job. In fact, I would argue they knew who did it. But if you remove the 67, 68 investigation, if you remove all the duplicates, if you remove the redacted materials, what you find is the modern TBI file is about 150 pages.
I can read that.
That's it.
Right. But, the other side, that they relied on a lot of things. The gun, the gunpowder residue, and then the travel of the bullets and the blood splatter on the hood, Bill. I mean, how can you explain the blood splatter on the hood? I mean, I got to take a commercial break, but when we come back, I want you to explain to me.
Sure.
Do you know about the blood splatter on the hood?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And Ken told me that they say the blood splatter goes from the windshield forward.
Well, I'll tell you all about the blood spatter.
I want to know.
We should talk about the rifle first.
Whatever you want to talk about. All right, folks, there you go. I don't know what to say. He's hit me with some stuff I wasn't prepared for. Was y'all prepared for any of that? Ken, was you?
Pretty good.
It's pretty good evidence. All right, folks. Hey, don't go nowhere. I got to pay the bills. I hate to do this to y'all right in the middle of this. I hate it. I swear I do, but I got to pay the bill. This, nothing's free. Quickly run through them. We'll be right back.
Here at Yoder's Country Store, we like to do things a little bit differently. We serve fresh lunches made right here in our kitchens. Take them home with you, or you can enjoy them right here in our warm and inviting dining room. A full deli with meats and cheeses sliced fresh, just for you. Fountain drinks, hot coffee, or delicious fruit smoothies. Add the finishing touches. Natural and organic products, as well as locally sourced foods you won't find anywhere else. We even carry canning supplies and hard-to-find country staples. And of course, friendly service every time you visit. And we're owned and operated by Amish and Mennonite families.
Order for bill is ready. Hey folks, James Yoder with Yoder's Country Store. We're not your regular grocery store. We're just 5 minutes from Paris. We would love to have you.
Just minutes from downtown Paris? Come experience Yoder's Country Store at 75 Anderson Road.
Is your tank on empty? For best gas prices in town, fill up at 54 Fuel Mart, 1213A Westwood Street. And don't forget your other tank. Grab hot fried chicken, wings, pizza, and on Tuesdays and Fridays, the best fried fish around. Got a sweet tooth? We've got freeze-dried candies, candy bars, and more. Rainy day? Stay dry and use our drive-up window. Farmers? We've got your dyed diesel plus parking for big rigs. Open 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. If you're feeling lucky, play the lottery or grab a scratch-off while you're here. 54 Fuel Mart at the Westwood Y. More than just fuel.
The Downtown Event Center is available for parties, meetings, or family get-togethers. The center comes with spacious seating and an area that will help make serving food easier. If you are having a birthday party, this is definitely the place for you. The Downtown Event Center is located at 107 South Brewer Street. Contact Jessica at 731-642-4992 to make your reservation.
Hi, I'm David Bubba Flowers. I'm running for re-election to the County Commission in the Great District 1 of Henry County. I have proudly served you for the last 2 years in District 1, and I look forward to using my 42 years of financial and accounting experience to help lead our county for the next 4 years. I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you.
All right, folks, next week we're going to end it all up with Bo Stephenson going to be here. He played Buford Pusser in Walking Tall 2. Steve Sweat's going to be in here. We're going to be talking about our ending because we went down to Buford Pusser country. We talked about people. We seen people. We done some investigation ourselves. We're going to find out what we think right here in the studio. Do we think which way or the other? Hey, there's both sides have got some great evidence, and I don't know. But you need to tune in next week. That's coming right here live, Tuesday, June the 2nd, 7 p.m. Steve Sweet and Bo, he played Buford Pusser and Walking Tall 2. We're going to talk to them, find out what's going on, and maybe by then I'll know one side or the other. All right, don't forget, coming up the June the 13th at the Golden Pond Distillery in Cadiz, Kentucky, it's Bigfoot Town Hall 2.0. Martin Grove's going to be there. Steve Causey going to be there. I'm going to be there. If you've got a story to tell, I want you to show up at the Golden Pond Distillery, 5 p.m. Saturday, June the 13th. Tell your story. There'll be people there to hear your story. They can tell you you're crazy or you're not crazy. You need to come. It's going to be fun. We got more room. We had a blowout crowd last time. We're going to be there this time. There's going to be food trucks there. There's going to be a lot of excitement going on. Steve Causey, Martin Groves, the Mike Weatherford Show will be there. It's going to be great. Saturday, June the 13th. Don't forget, coming up on Tennessee Informer, your verdict can override the government. The people versus the system. Special Jeff Cobble will be there talking with Dave. Monday, June the 1st, 7 p.m. on the Tennessee Informer. Hey, don't forget, Sportscast Sunday, June the 7th, 7:30. Sports photography. 3 great photographers going on here. That's got to be a great show. It's got to be hard to be a photographer in sports. So that's coming up on Sportscast Live at Jeremy Buckaloo. Don't forget it. Hey, don't forget multi-county Republican rally coming up Thursday, July the 16th, 6 p.m. I got a hint there's going to be some special people there you don't want to miss it. Coming up here at the Parish Convention Center. Hey, TEC, we have built over 300 miles of fiber in Paris, Tennessee. Hey, get on and get you some. Hey, the Peddler Advantage, 9 counties for over 40 years, 30,000 papers, 20-word classified, $4 for 4 weeks for $10. Go get you some of that too. Hey, don't forget we're growing. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on all the platforms. Hey, if you want to find out more, go to www.myparistv.com. Find out about all the great shows going on at Kill Media and Brewer Street Mafia. All right, folks, we've been sitting here talking with Bill. He's kind of throwing some evidence out here, and I'm going to try my best to poke some holes in it. You know, yeah, I liked Buford growing up. Most people did. But I've been wondering, after my last guest, was he really the guy we thought he was? And Bill's trying to bring me back the other way and say, yeah, he was the guy you thought he was. So I don't know what to tell you, folks. Here we go. We're getting back with Bill. Welcome back, Bill.
Thank you.
So you just told me some stuff there. You said you wanted to go to the gun before I went to the break instead of going to the blood spatter.
Right. Yeah. Well, the gun is one of the most important things in this case because Mark Davidson never would have gone forward without that gun. That gun is also how he petitioned the court to exhume Pauline's body by presenting, saying that he had new evidence. Well, the only possible new evidence was this gun. That story has been debunked. Now, there's a long way to do it and a short way to do it, and I'll give you the short way first. The TBI is holding an M1 carbine. The death weapon, the murder weapon, was an M2 carbine. And
automatic.
I'll tell you how I know that. That's correct. So there's two, they're the exact same weapon.
That's right.
M1 and an M2. The difference is the M2 has a selector switch that allows it to be fired in automatic mode. There's 2 pieces of evidence that I look at to determine which one it was, and one of them is Buford's own statement. Buford said it sounded like machine guns being fired. In fact, this is the Commercial Appeal, the Memphis paper, the next day. The headline is, Ambush Sheriff Compares Blast to the Sound of Machine Guns. Well, a machine gun is an automatic weapon, and any law enforcement officer knows the difference. So an M1, you can fire an M1, a semi-automatic, about 4 times in 1 second, as fast as you can pull the trigger, which is about 4 times in 1 second. An M2 cycles at the rate of about 12 or 13 rounds per second. It is a completely different sound. When Buford says he heard a machine gun, he's hearing an automatic weapon. It's an M2. Also, the TBI in 1967 thought the same thing. This is the Commercial Appeal from 3 days later, August 15th, and I quote, the TBI is working on the theory that the death weapon may be an M2 carbine. So that's
they suspicion that too then.
Yes, in 1967. So that's enough for me. It's the only evidence we have. We can also look at the shot pattern. We know what the pattern is. It's a very sweeping left to right shot pattern. Very terrible.
Let me ask you about that.
Yep.
That pattern, when you shoot one in fully automatic, you tend to rise as you shoot. Right?
Well, you're going to walk one way or the other.
You're going to walk and usually rise.
Yes.
For the kickback of the gun.
Yes.
Did it show rise or just straight across?
It showed a sweeping left to right, not so much rise. So you got to do 2 things with an automatic weapon. You do have to hold it down, but you have to keep it from walking laterally also. You got to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what you're doing, it's going to walk on you. Now, true, Pauline was hit in the head, obviously, twice. But there were also shots all over that car, and there were a number of shots that missed everything from a car width away. Someone who was shooting that automatic weapon didn't know how to shoot it.
What are we looking at right here?
Well, that's the 2 blasts from the second ambush site. So we have blast number 1, burst number 1 that came in over top of Buford. Buford said he laid down in the seat. He pulled Pauline down in the seat.
Okay, do we have the Zim bullet, the burst 1?
Yep.
Do we have the bullet entrance hose to prove that?
Yes, in the upper console.
Okay, on the passenger side, looks like that's hitting just about through the steering wheel, kind of, if you follow that.
That's correct. These are all confirmed. So
okay, these are not speculation; them are confirmed.
No,
okay,
these are from the TBI file.
So that burst right there, you're saying was the first burst.
Yeah. So keep in mind the Cadillac is pulling up. It's pulling up next to
like it right there.
That's right. That's the first ambush site.
Okay, this right here is the first one.
At least 2 shots that we know came through the driver's side rear window.
I see something right there now. I see that arrow. I've never seen this before. There's an arrow coming out that passenger side front windshield. That's always wondered. I thought that bullet went in from the others straight into the car, but you're saying that it come through the back glass on the driver's side.
Yes.
According to your picture right there, maybe that's a driver. Is that a 4-door car or 2-door? The one Buford's in, the white one.
That's a good question. I think it's a 4-door.
Well, either way,
I thought the side you had was a 4-door. Can you back up the first picture?
Yeah. Well, these
are animated.
Right. That's correct.
Yes,
right.
So
that's a 2-door.
Yeah, but I think that's just animation.
Okay.
But anyway, go back to that next picture. Now that bullet right there on the passenger side windshield.
Yes.
I have seen that in photos.
Yes.
I thought that went in that way. So you're saying, and your investigation tells you it goes out that way. How do you prove that?
No,
Bill?
the TBI's investigation showed that.
They did?
Yeah, they concluded that in 1967. I don't think there's any argument about that, and that's quite easy to determine in
you have to find an entrance and exit. Yes.
Well, in a windshield, you can tell by the beveling. A windshield's
the
safety
tempered
glass.
Yes,
with plastic in between. It's quite easy to determine. So, so at the first ambush site, you got at least these are the minimum number of shots during that ambush.
This is first.
One of them goes through, misses Buford, and goes out the windshield. The second one we know hit Pauline in the back of the head. And then
was she shot in the back of the head?
She was, and then the bullet exited and blew the window out. Her
passenger side window.
Passenger side window.
So what's that right there?
Right there. That's the first shot.
Does that line up with what the autopsy and everything says?
Yes. And outside on the first ambush site, they found quite a bit of brain and skull matter. So the bullet passed through Pauline's head, entered in the back, went out the window, blew the window out, and took a lot of matter with it.
Wow.
And then the next scene, this one, they started shooting as they're pulling up. Buford said they ended up slightly ahead of his car, next to it, but slightly ahead. So you got burst number 1. They come in over top of Buford, who's getting down in the seat, hits the console. By then they're stopping. The second burst, the one at the top, or the one farthest left, hits Pauline in the forehead.
So that's really okay.
Right there. So Buford
said that right there, you're saying, is coming in from the passenger door, driver's door. Excuse me.
Yes. Buford's window was down. It was down throughout this. So what Buford said in his statement, and this supports his statement completely, was that he pulled Pauline down in the seat. She was choking on her blood. He picked her up and leaned her back against the door, and that's when the Cadillac pulls up and starts shooting again, and one of the bullets hits her in the forehead.
Okay, so that right there, looks like it's coming from a low angle, though.
Well, it's just the best way I could do it.
Okay, so that's not
to get the angle in there.
Okay. All right, so okay, I got you.
And at this second ambush site, again, they found more brain and skull matter because their window's already blown out at this point. But then, if you go back to those trajectories showing the 2 bursts, you can see how it's moving left to right. Somebody's not really controlling and bringing that weapon back on target. This automatic weapon.
But so these right here is not something you think you can prove that by bullet holes in the vehicle.
Yes, this is documented by the TBI.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots right there.
Well, there's 5 shots in that one arrow. There were 5 shots behind the rear window on the passenger side.
Oh, okay, so there's more
So we got 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7. I'm sorry, 5,
11.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
11 shots.
And that's assuming only 1 shot hit Pauline in the forehead. Dr. Peeler did his examination. He believed 2 shots hit her in the same spot. That would be indicative of an automatic weapon, too, to be able to hit somebody in the same spot.
It'd be luck, too.
It would be luck, but it would be as rapidly as it fires. So back to the rifle. It's probably an M2, which means the TBI is holding an M1. It's of no value.
Where did the M1 or the rifle, whatever it is, how did it get into play?
Well, I'll tell you. And first of all, it's useless because there's no evidence to compare it to.
Now, my last guest said that and said, but he didn't go into details about it, that they didn't have the ammo.
They don't.
Okay, so no way they can prove the casing that it was shot out of that gun, right?
He
said that too. So that gun couldn't be used as evidence, really?
No,
Am I wrong or right?
It cannot be used as evidence.
Okay, I want to make sure I was right on that, because I did say that last time, and I've had people say I wasn't right. It could be, but if you can't tie that gun to it.
No, I say in the book, in law enforcement, it's what we call a paperweight. It has no evidentiary value at all, with nothing to compare it to.
What provenance do they have to get that gun from wherever to Buford?
Well, here's the long story. It's not that long. The story of the gun begins with your guest, Mr. Elam. He went on YouTube and did a video and announced to the world that he had the murder weapon, an M1 carbine. And he gave a story as to how it got to McNairy County. And the story he gave was that a man by the name of O'Neill Moffett, Jim Moffitt's son, was in the Air Force.
And Moffett was the chief deputy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
His son O'Neill was in the Air Force. The story he shared was that O'Neill was put on a detail to transport a load of guns to be destroyed, M1s. Now, when I heard that, I knew right then and there that story's not true, because the military doesn't do that with an airman. When they move weapons, they convoy them with armed security. So the story was that O'Neill thought, well, they're going to be destroyed anyway. I'm going to go up to McNairy and give my buddy Sheriff Pusser a couple of them, which he did. That's the story. And then sometime later, the Air Force discovered the discrepancy. And according to Mr. Elam, O'Neill got in a little bit of trouble, but Buford went to court and took care of it for him. None of that's true, and I'll tell you why. Shortly after I started looking at it, I found an article, and so did a lot of other people on the internet. There are a lot of good people on these Facebook pages that have done a great job investigating this. And we all found the same article where O'Neill Moffett and 2 other airmen got indicted by a federal grand jury in Pensacola in 1963. Now, before I even mention that, I'll point out that O'Neill got discharged from the Air Force 8 months before Buford ever became sheriff. So I knew that wasn't correct. I also confirmed through the defense...
Hold on. The guy that claimed to give the gun to Buford wasn't even in the military when Buford was sheriff. Is that what you just said?
That's correct.
Proof of that, no doubt.
Oh, I got his discharge papers, and I've talked to his family, at least one of his family members. But so that's not true. I also confirmed through the Defense Logistics Agency that no M1s were destroyed prior to the end of ground operations in Vietnam, 1971, and into 1972. I also confirmed that even if they were destroyed because they were inoperable, the method for destroying weapons was to simply bury them on the post where they were taken out of service. So we found this article where O'Neill and 2 other airmen got indicted for stealing government weapons. They stole 8 M1s and 46 M6 survival shotguns. These are over-under shotguns, 22 410s that will fold in half for a survival kit. Against the law to own, unless you got the right federal license. We put that out on the internet. course, the goalposts started to get changed a little bit, and the story was, well, those are just the weapons he was taking to be destroyed. So I next did something that the TBI didn't bother to do. I'm not even sure they know how to do it. If there's an indictment, there's a court file. And I went and found the court file at the National Archives in Atlanta, which is not an easy thing to do. You can't walk into the National Archives and say, show me the O'Neill Moffett file. They have no idea where it's at. So you have to go back to the district, Pensacola. They maintain the location information, the aisle number, shelf number, box number. You then go to the archives and they pull it out for you.
Gotcha. They just kind of store it.
Yes. So I did that. I got the file. In fact, I got the file with me tonight. What I found was it had absolutely nothing to do with weapons being destroyed. O'Neill Moffett and the other two airmen broke into the Air and Sea Rescue Command Center at Eglin Air Force Base and stole the weapons. They were not set out to be destroyed. They were set out to be put in survival kits. The Air Force OSI and the FBI immediately arrested them because one of them had been in the room that day actually inventorying the weapons. So, of course, they went to him first, and I've got his written confession he gave the FBI. So the whole story was false, but most importantly is the serial numbers of those weapons they stole are in the file. The one the TBI has is not one of them.
Can you trace it with a serial number and see where it went, where it come from? Where was it a military gun?
Yeah, it's a military gun. I can't. Law enforcement can. My guess is, and they did try. They did go through the ATF, but that's redacted. We don't know what it came back. I think what we found out, and we know where the gun came from. It came from P.D. Plunk, Buford's other deputy. Buford had one. Buford handed it over to be tested, and it was not a match. So I think each of them, probably Jim Moffett as well, each had one, and they got them through the law enforcement surplus weapons program. My own department did that. You don't.
That happens. I'll have to give you credit on that, but it's just kind of okay.
So you don't pay for them. They don't go on the books.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the officers leave and they take them with them. So the bottom line to the weapon.
You're trying to say in the 60s, too, not nowhere near the paperwork we have nowadays.
Yeah, and the archivists in McNairy County have been looking for paperwork for me, and it's just not there. Okay. In fact, they got sanctioned by the state of Tennessee because they didn't have the right
blood
paperwork.
splatter. Now I'm going to get you on the blood splatter.
Yeah,
I can't argue the other stuff because you seem to have your stuff, but they say. Now this is what's got me. When I say I was a Buford Pusser hero, who wasn't a kid back in them days that wasn't a hero of Buford Pusser?
Sure.
That's got twisted around like I believe in Buford. No, he was my hero. John Wayne was my hero.
Mine too.
And even Clint Eastwood was my hero.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But it's got me wondering, with the blood splatter on the hood coming from the windshield forward. Now, that's what I've heard. There's a lot of other little stuff that I've heard, too. There it is right there. Now, you tell me, there's that hole in that windshield. I have seen this picture somewhere.
Yes.
Is that hole you were showing me other than that windshield, correct?
It is, and there's an even better picture.
Okay, I thought that went in. Okay. I thought it went in the other way. Now, see, is that blood on the hood?
Yes.
Okay. Now, my last guest said that Buford never got out of his car for that blood to be on that hood.
Well, that's not true. The only thing we have is Buford's statement, and Buford was very clear about that. He said what happened was after the second burst of rounds, he looked up. The shooting had stopped. He looked up, and the shooter had jammed the rifle. Now, the shooter again was right next to him, and the rifle was jammed, and he was messing with it, that doesn't necessarily mean it's an M2, but an automatic weapon is certainly more prone to jam if you don't know how to shoot it.
They are. I got to give you that. But
yeah.
Still, you don't convince me on the blood splatter. How in the hell did that blood splatter go from the?
Yeah.
Now, Ken, you told me you've done some work for me. That's your job. Make Mike look smart. You've let me down tonight, but
your standards are low, man.
I'll tell you. What kind of?
Right, Ricky, you're awful quiet. I need to clothesline you.
Well, I'm telling you, he got me tonight.
I'm telling you, I don't know how to argue this dude, but no, he's got all them years on the being his police work. Now look, we're not that smart. Ken, you told me the blood splatter went from the hood, from the windshield forward. Me and you talked about it the other night, correct?
From the windshield out, it almost doesn't sound possible. I mean, I don't.
That's what the FBI report said, right, Ken? I want to make sure I'm telling this right. Explain that, Mr. Bill.
Well, you got it backwards. So,
yeah,
let me explain the.
Well, that's what it says. It says.
Well, it doesn't say that. Let me explain the blood spatter. Okay, the blood spatter, and I do testify as a blood spatter expert in my civil rights cases. All of the blood is explained on that car except the hood, what you see in that one picture.
Yeah, back up to that hood. Real good shot of that hood.
We don't even know whose blood that is because there wasn't enough to test.
That looks like a lot of blood to me.
Well, it's not. It's really not. So there's a lot of blood around the car. All of it was tested by the FBI. Pauline's blood was right where it should have been. Buford's blood was right where it should have been. They're both. Pauline is bleeding out, and Buford's bleeding profusely. Buford also is covered in Pauline's blood because he's pulling her down the seat and so forth.
I can see that.
So
if he shot her or he didn't shoot her, he's still going to have his blood. Her blood's going to be on. They're going to be mixed blood. I'll give you that, Bill.
So Buford gets out of the car, and he actually tries to wrestle the rifle away from the shooter. He was somebody he'd never seen before. And we can talk about who that was because I think we know. He tried to wrestle the gun away. The person floored the Cadillac. The engine died. And while the driver's starting up the engine, they're wrestling the gun, and he finally takes off. Buford, now that's what we call cast-off stains.
Put that back again. Cast-off stains.
Cast-off stains is from a secondary source. In other words, it's not arterial blood spurting out of the neck or whatever.
Right.
It's blood on the hands, for example, that through movement gets cast off onto another surface. So Buford does two things. He gets out of the car. He goes over. He's wrestling with this guy, just not even a car width away. When the Cadillac takes off, he runs around the front of the car, and because his first instinct is to get Pauline out of the car, so he's clearly in front of that car. He's going around the car, but not only that. This picture's taken after everything's done. This picture's taken after the medical people show up. They fling open Pauline's door, which is absolutely covered in blood. They're getting her out. There's 100 different ways cast off could get on that hood that may not have anything to do with the ambush.
That's not the smoking gun.
No, the important thing about the blood, again, that's the only blood. We don't even know whose it is on the hood. There wasn't enough to test. And when they tested it, then they just did blood type, and they had different blood types, so it was pretty easy to determine. Mike Parson and Mark Davidson bring in a blood spatter expert, and his name's Corey Latham, and he is a true blood spatter expert. He's from Kansas. Again, the TBI people didn't participate, the forensics people. So he brings in Corey Latham, and I got his report, and he is a true expert. He's testified many times on blood spatter. When it came to the hood, his opinion was there's really nothing we can tell about that hood, about the blood. He said he couldn't even tell what type of a stain it is. He couldn't tell who it came from, how it got there, nothing.
That looks like a lot, Bill. I got to push back on that. That looks like a lot of blood to me, but maybe it ain't.
It's not. And you also, I've got those circled because, well, let me tell you why I have those circled. So Corey Latham comes in, and he says, sorry, there's nothing we can really say about that hood. So he's done. A year later, who do they bring in? Eric Warren, the same guy that the two first examples I showed you. Now, Eric Warren is not a blood spatter expert. In fact, I got the email where I just flat out asked him, I said, have you ever one time testified in a state or federal court on blood spatter as an expert? He admitted he has not. He comes in, and all of a sudden now he's offering opinions about the blood spatter as if he knows whose it is.
I got a question about that, though.
Yeah.
When I had my blood type, they just pick it like a little prick of blood. Mm-hmm. That blood was the only one that came back inconclusive.
Yep.
They were confident that the passenger and the driver's side, but that right. I don't know. That makes me wonder: was there some kind of political pull to say, "Hey"? Something I don't know.
No,
well,
it's a question.
Somebody else too could have been the guy he struggled with.
It could have been. There's 100 different possibilities. But to answer your question, the FBI tested I think it was their Atlanta lab that tested the blood. There's no politics going to come into play with the FBI lab testing that.
And it come back inconclusive. What does that mean? Not enough to tell, or can't tell whose type it is, or what?
There wasn't enough to tell whose type it was. So the blood on, and again, it's not that much blood. There's many ways that, if you take, and I've been to many accident scenes where there's blood everywhere. If I'm a EMS person and I rip off a rubber glove and it's covered in blood, it's going to go everywhere.
Yeah, I don't think they wore gloves back then, did they?
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Well, could it have been? I don't know. I mean, you got me. I don't know. Could it have been? I was thinking, honestly, if Buford did shoot her, she was outside the car and he shot her from behind.
Well, it's really a free for all because Eric Warren, his opinion is she was shot inside the car, so therefore he thinks that must be Buford's blood, and it happened when Buford shot himself in the face in front of the car.
Let's get to that right quick before I let you go. Now, there's been I don't know. Y'all all can make your own. They said it was a superficial. Then I've heard he was shot in the chin. I've heard he shot in the jaw. I've heard he put the bullet in his mouth. And that woman said, and I've heard people say, well, jaws. In the South, and I got to give my friend credit. In the South, my mom used to say, I'll smack your jaws.
Yeah.
That was a big area. That meant chin and the whole side of your face. In the South, slap your jaws. You've heard that too. Where was Buford shot? Do you know exactly what part of his face was hit?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me address the issue of a self-inflicted wound. Buford had no stippling on his face.
That's that gunpowder.
Gunpowder, and they also had Dr. Ravel, who is the current medical examiner down there, who's board certified in family medicine. He's an ER doctor. He's not a blood spatter expert. He's not a pathologist. He was offering opinions that made no sense to me, but he actually said there's one of two possibilities. One is that Buford stuck the gun in his mouth and shot. The problem, there's no bullet hole in his cheek. Now, I'm one who believes that there wasn't a lot of damage to his jaw. I don't think it was superficial. His skin was hanging down. I think he had 3 contact points above his lips, below his lips, and right over in the corner of his mouth, which is where the facial nerve comes to an end, which is also the same spot he got shot 7 months earlier out on Highway 45. I don't think it was a bullet.
There it is right there.
Yes. You can see the 3...
That's his teeth, right? Am I seeing teeth?
No.
What am I seeing to the left?
Those are his lips.
His lips.
To the left of it.
Yeah. Now this picture is...
Hold on a minute. That's your snot trough. My mom used to call it a little thing.
Up on top.
Yeah. And right below that's teeth hanging down.
That could be, yeah.
Okay. All right. Now I want to get my bearings. You see what I'm saying, Rick?
I see. Yeah.
Okay. Now.
Yeah. So this isn't the original picture. This is the original picture cleaned up so that we can actually see the wound without all the blood. And I did that digitally. And what you see, and it's consistent.
That ain't been doctored.
No.
Okay.
And that's in the book, and you can compare it to the original. The original. So what we see is there's 3 different contact points: above, below, and to the side. Now that's not indicative of a bullet shot. And I think what happened, and I've dealt with this wound before in shooting cases. If Kevin could pull up that one right there, I think in the first ambush site, when Buford looked back to see where that Cadillac was, I think the first shot came through the rear passenger window. That's the shot that went out the windshield.
Yeah.
And I think when it passed by his face, the safety glass, the shattered and what we call aerosolized glass that followed the bullet, raked across his face and basically shredded his skin.
So you don't think it's a bullet hole?
No, I don't see a bullet hole.
I wondered that because I would have thought that it would have just tore his face off if it was shot with a 357.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
that's questioned me all along.
Yeah,
really
range, it'd have been nothing left.
But I thought he may have done it himself now, because what
had he done it himself? There's 2 options: put it in his mouth, and you saw the picture of the 357 and the fire coming out that far. That's the same gun he was carrying that night.
But it wasn't fired. Was fired. Ken, did you say it was or wasn't?
No, No. What I'm saying right there, that's
his service gun.
Well, they're saying he shot himself with the .357.
Yeah, was it shot?
No, there was no empty casing in it. Okay, so if you could go back to that picture.
Yeah. Go back to the gunshot. There you go.
Now you can imagine putting this in your mouth and pulling the trigger.
Yeah, the fire.
There'd be something.
It'd be
he had no burned skin.
I can give you that, but
you've been powdered. Yeah.
What if he pulled it back here? He went on.
Number one, he would have been covered with stippling.
How far does stippling take?
4 feet. 4 feet. It's
within 4 feet. You're going to have powder burns. It's going to tattoo your skin, as you said prior.
It's almost always present. And these old revolvers shot real dirty anyway, so there's a good chance. I mean, there would be
powder
stippling.
was dirtier back then. I agree.
So if he does this and shoots this way, number one, it would have required that bullet to wrap around his mouth for those 3 contact points. Number two, it would have destroyed every bit of skin that it touched.
Put that picture of his face back up there, Kevin, if you would, please. I'm working him tonight. Y'all three. Ricky, what does that look like to you?
There's no way he could have shot himself.
Ken, what do you say?
I have not seen any pictures with any gunpowder, as Bill said, like tattooed to your skin. And I
think when he got shot or grazed, it got him.
Yeah, there's a lot of blood shooting out of that.
It is. Yeah, I think,
blood, man.
if you've been shot, and it grazes you, you're taking.
Now you've got me going back the other way, Bill. I don't know what to say here. Y'all got me so dang confused. I don't know what to do.
Well, let me give you one other option.
I don't know if the crap's. I just closed one eye and pooped.
Let me give you one other option because I've considered this.
That's enough. You just about got me. I don't know what the hell is going on.
Did a bullet hit something, a hard surface fragment, and did 3 different fragments of one bullet hit him? That's a possibility, but I don't see any evidence that a bullet hit that car.
Put that back up again. For my years of hunting, the bullet on his jaw again. I know I keep going back to Kevin. I'm sorry. I promise. I apologize. I'm trying to make heads or tails that. I see an upper lip. I see the snot trough. I see some teeth, and I see some lip. Y'all help me. Does that look like a bullet wound, or does that look like maybe a collateral damage?
Well,
I don't know. I'm not an expert.
There's no burns there. There's no burns.
When you cleaned this up, you didn't clean out the gunpowder wound when you cleaned that picture up, did you?
Oh, no. No, it would be documented. There was no stippling on his face.
I could give you that, Ken. Can you? That might have been the glass coming through there, because that glass is going to be coming and it's going to be coming just like that. It's like a cone at you.
It does.
And that right there. Can you back up that picture right there? Okay, I know that's just all questionable, but it kind of makes sense. I would have thought the bullet traveled the other way, Bill. But, after looking at that picture, you may be on to something, because that back glass is shot out.
Yes.
And he's probably looking back. And
that's the next ambush site.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. You back up one more time, Kevin, if you would, please. And it goes out that window yonder. Man, I don't know.
Now, consider this, and I just handled a case like this with the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. Same thing, aerosolized glass. But consider this, if he's looking back that way, the skin is going to be shredded and it's going to be peeled back right to left.
That's right, going back toward his ear.
If he's looking straight out behind the wheel and it comes
the other way,
it's going to go the other way.
Okay, so you're saying that skin should be peeled toward his left ear, correct?
Yes. Now go to the
go back to the there you
go. Right
there,
see?
Yeah.
Wow.
See, there's one of the things in the TBI report, it does say self-inflicted. But, you grow up in the South. I used to watch TV where they take a revolver and put a pillow over it, try to silence it. It doesn't work. You just burn a big hole in the pillow. I don't know if y'all ever did that. But
we don't want to go there, kid.
It don't work. Hey,
just saying.
Don't run out on murder, okay?
I've seen it firsthand. It doesn't work like it does on TV. Anyway.
Bill, I'm going to tell you, I've did about, a couple of thousand shows. I've got a lot of background in doing these kind of shows. I've never had a guest that I couldn't put holes in. And it sounds like I'm taking up for you, but I'm not. Damn. Y'all help me, Ricky.
Can't help you.
Ken, you've been investigating this. Help me out here. Question him so we can try to put a bullet hole in this.
As far as the investigation, if I were on the jury, I couldn't say guilty. I can tell you that much.
Can I offer one more thing?
Don't confuse me no more, Bill. Hell,
go ahead. I want to hear
it. Another thing that concerns me about this investigation, aside from the fact that very few TBI people actually participated in it, the lead investigator, Mike Parson. Now,
have you talked with him?
No, he won't talk to me.
Okay.
Eric Warren finally got mad and quit talking to me because I think I just had him in a corner he couldn't get out of.
Did he say you was wrong?
No, he just, I demanded that he retract that report. I told him the next step was going to be filing ethics complaints.
Right.
And I haven't heard back from him. Now, Mike Parson, let's talk about him.
He's an investigator.
He's
correct?
the investigator. Conflicts of interest, even the appearance of conflicts in law enforcement are bad. You'll lose a case with that when a defense attorney.
It ought to be.
So when I started looking into Mike Parson, I found out, number one, he's from Corinth, Mississippi. Number two, he went to school with Dennis Hathcock's daughter, appears in the same yearbook. His family has connections to the state line that other people that live down there have told me about. I want to be clear, I am not calling him a corrupt police officer, but I'm calling him a highly conflicted police officer, and he should never have been allowed to be involved in this.
I would have bet, Bill, that he was cleared up above him. I bet they didn't see a conflict. Let's give him benefit of the doubt.
Well, I think
I would hope that you know what I'm saying, Bill?
Yeah, I don't think that was the case, because I think if it was a legitimate case where they may have ended up in court, I don't think he would have been allowed to even be a part of it. So I think it's like everything else. They had a blank slate because they knew they were never going to go to court on this.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. Either way it went, if they'd have said he didn't do it or he did do it, there's no what is it? What could they do with it? There's nobody to try. There's nothing. And a lot of the families dead. A lot of your witnesses are older. You're talking about something 60-something years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's.
But what's sad is a lot of the family is still around, and they weren't even consulted on exhuming Pauline.
Well, how are you taking in the world of Buford Pusser? With your analysis of what went on, how is your side taken?
Well,
I got to eat up for having Mr. Mike on my show, and I'm okay with that. I don't care. I'm just, if you want to shoot the messenger, I don't care. Do it. Call me whatever you want to call me.
Yeah, when I got involved in this, I had no idea that this has been going on for 20 or 25 years. Okay. This feud between, I'll tell you what they call them, the Elamites versus the Pussermites.
Yeah. I did it because the Buford Pusser Festival was coming up, and I thought I could run through this and do a show or two and move on.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like crack. You get addicted. I'm not addicted to it. I don't really care about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But my crew, my team does an excellent job, and they say, you need to talk to this guy, Mike. You need to talk to this guy. Because I'm not smart enough to go out here and get all of y'all guys. It has to be. Well, you was contacted by my producer. Yeah. I can't do that, or I don't know how y'all got together. And you and I did talk, but I talked to all my guests beforehand. Not a lot, but I talk a little bit. But I don't know. Tonight I can't push back much because I don't know the story. Now I'm going to be why do you do a show you don't know the story? Half of your interviewers on TV, your journalists, they don't know the story. That's what you ask questions for.
Yeah.
And
this is a complicated thing to know.
It's very complicated.
In fact, there's parts of it that I would say, unless you're an experienced investigator, you may not totally understand.
Right.
You asked how it's been received. Well, the vast majority of police officers on the internet are supporting what we're doing.
Right.
There are a number of Facebook pages, and I mean they're really good.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, I only know one page that is anti,
right.
And that's Mr. Elam's.
Right.
But there's a number of others.
Mr. Elam's got a good story now. He's backed it up with a lot of information. He didn't come in here crazy. He come in here with information, and I believe he studied his story. Now he's not going into. I got to take that for a minute there, and y'all they can get mad if you want to, but I'm going to tell you how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
he come into it with a high investigated. He investigated his side of the story. I don't think he just made it up. I think he let the evidence follow him.
Well, I would argue that it's slightly different than that. He focused more on hearsay evidence.
See, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I know from reading his book, and I'm not trashing his book by any means.
No,
but I know.
I think you need to read both books. I think you need to read his book and your book.
But I know he's focused on going to McNairy County and interviewing people who knew somebody who knew somebody. I don't do that because I've never used hearsay. It's not admissible in court.
Well, I don't like hearsay because, usually when they hearsay about me, it's probably,
Hearsay about Mike. It's true.
Oh, yeah.
It's true.
If you hear about what Mike did, it's probably true.
It's true.
But, y'all help me.
Can you tell me about Griffin Mullins, why he did make a statement that Buford said that they did an autopsy, and I don't know if that was an interview before this recent exhumation or...
Well, no, they didn't do an autopsy.
But Buford had said that they had told him that.
Well...
And that was in the file. So.
There again, those are the things that's hearsay. I don't focus on that. What I can tell you about Griffin Mullins...
Hold on a minute. I got a question. Go ahead with your story. I don't want to interrupt.
What I'll say is under Tennessee law, you have to consult the next of kin to exhume a body. Now, Griffin Mullins is Pauline's brother out on the East Coast somewhere. She's got her adult grandkids all over the place. None of them were talked to by Mark Davidson. Now, I find that problematic because the ashes of two of her kids were on her grave. Those are the parents of a lot of these adult kids now. They weren't even talked to.
Are they upset with this? With that
Well, I don't know them, and I've talked to a couple of them briefly. I think they're very disturbed by it. They weren't even talked to.
Maybe they wanted the answer. Maybe they were willing to sacrifice that to get the answers.
I mean, they had to watch the crypt of their grandmother paraded through Adamsville down. And I believe the ashes.
How
of their
come? I do got a question.
Yep.
His chief deputy, what was his name?
Jim Moffitt.
He said that he thought Buford did do it.
Did do it or didn't?
Did.
Well,
I read that. Can you give me that information? That he said, read this, Mike. It's to make you wonder. That he said in that investigation, he said, I think Buford. I got it right here. Hold on. Can I read this to you?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't want to trap you with nothing, but I think it's fair.
There's no pictures, Mike. Sorry.
I know. You didn't give me no damn picture.
It's not in crayons either, right? It's not even in crayons, okay?
All right, hold on. I'll find it. I had it. Listen.
Well, let's get the crayons out.
Okay, here's what he said.
64 of them.
He said, pick up double handful of Pauline's brain from a side ditch and questioned if she had been shot inside the car. There would have been no way for her parts of her body to get out inside the car into the ditch unless she was shot outside the car, which contradicts Buford's statement. Moffitt also described Pauline as being very dirty when he saw her, and that her knowledge that Buford had beaten up Pauline sometime before she was killed. He informed that he knew that Pauline had gone to District Attorney Terry Abernathy for helping get a divorce shortly before she was killed. Moffitt claimed that he knew Buford carried a .30 caliber carbine in his trunk, but this rifle was not in Buford's truck when he looked inside. He claimed he asked Carl where the .30 caliber was, and Moffitt, and he said they later that it got rid of a couple of days before. Then he goes on and says he thinks that he killed Buford killed his wife.
Yeah,
that's his chief deputy. But that's kind of damning evidence.
Well, you have to understand where that comes from.
It's from the TBI.
Well, let me explain it.
Okay.
You will not find an interview of Jim Moffitt. You won't find a firsthand account where he says any of that. What you're reading is a summary of a TBI agent 10 years later who claimed to have that conversation with Jim Moffitt. That was not Jim Moffitt's words, firsthand words. That was a secondhand account by a TBI agent.
That's not an investigation written down where you can go back and read that. He's just saying what he told him 10 years earlier.
No, 10 years later.
Yeah, earlier. Yeah. Later.
He's doing a stolen car case with Jim Moffitt. Now, this is the part you almost need to be from the law enforcement community to understand. When I saw that statement, number one, it's a secondhand statement. It's not Jim Moffitt saying that. Number two, when I looked at the file number on the TBI report, it's an internal affairs file number.
What does that mean?
Well, it means it's not part of the homicide investigation. Okay. It means somebody was in trouble. It means this TBI agent, who not long after that left and became a politician. What it means is this, for whatever reason, this TBI agent is sitting down 10 years after the murder and telling another TBI agent, this is what Jim Moffitt told me recently. So it's not a firsthand account from Moffitt. Moffitt never gave a firsthand account, and his family will tell you today he loved Buford very much.
So that was just a TBI agent saying that Moffitt told him. Like I could say Ken or Ricky told me something.
Yes, and we don't know why. We don't know why. All we know is that it was part of an internal affairs case, and we don't know, and we'll never know because the TBI will never release that file.
Ricky, any questions for him?
I'm good.
Better be sharp.
You can't be sharp because he already cut you.
Yeah. Ken, you're a very smart guy. You do a lot for me. You're very intelligent because you do a lot of investigation for me. Help me.
I think we need to come back in the morning and just spend the entire day just drilling Mr. Bill here.
I
got to go look at the files again.
I'll give you an idea. Put Mike Parson and Mark Davidson right there in those chairs. Put me in this chair and let's hash it out.
I doubt that'll happen. I don't think they're allowed to talk about it no more.
Well, Mark,
you're an expert. Go ahead, Ricky. Who was talking?
I was. Mark Davidson can say anything he wants. He doesn't report to anybody, and he's not been seen publicly since the day of that press conference.
Oh, he's not a TBI agent no more?
No, the district attorney.
District attorney. Okay.
I always liken it to the kid that sticks his tongue out from a block away and then takes off running.
Yeah,
he did the press conference. No further.
Well, I do back the blue, and if I'm going to err, I want to err on the side of law enforcement. I do.
Yep.
But you made some good points. Ken, help me.
Again, 58 years ago. Obviously, I wasn't born, even though I look a little older. But it's hard for. I can say on a jury, I couldn't say this guy at all.
Would you indict him if he come to you on the grand jury?
I don't know how you. I haven't seen enough that you could, to be honest.
Well, you could because they wouldn't have somebody like me there to say that this. It's not an M1. Well, it was an M2.
You can indict a ham sandwich.
You can indict by just showing one side of the.
Yeah, that's
argument.
how it works.
Yeah, but at trial, not a possibility.
Not a possibility. Right. Wow. Well, Bill, I've kept you an hour and a half. Let's hit your website and your book. Hold a picture of your book. There it is, William Harmening. That's a hard name. What is that name? Is that German?
Harmening, German. Yeah.
I thought it was. Official site. There's your book, 16th Avenue. Tell me about your books as you goes through.
Well, 16th Avenue is about the 1989 murder of Kevin Hughes on Music Row in Nashville. Netflix is preparing to do a documentary on that case.
Did you work professionally on that or just write a book?
No, just the book.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and in fact, I just finished it when I started on the Buford Pusser.
So you didn't know nothing about Buford Pusser until you heard after moving to. If you was still in Illinois, you probably never even wrote this book. So what you're saying, you probably never paid no attention.
That's probably true.
Because you just moved to Nashville, and it was all over the news.
Yeah, it was. And if you go down further, there's. I was nominated for a 2022 Pulitzer for that book. That's a nonfiction book about police shootings and police use of force, and it details many of the cases I've worked.
Right.
And then those are textbooks.
Right.
That I've written, and they're ridiculously priced. So.
What does that mean?
Well, I don't control it. The publishers do, but those are $200 books.
Oh, wow.
The textbooks.
Is it worth every penny?
No.
He's honest, isn't he?
Yeah, what's that Buford Pusser files? What does that do?
Well, that's a good point. So anybody who's listening to this that wants to see any of this evidence, every bit of it's on my website, including the entire TBI file.
That 2,500 pages.
Yeah. So don't spend $400 on it or whatever they were charging.
You've got it right there.
I have the O'Neill Moffitt file relating to the gun. I've got Pauline's divorce file. I've got everything.
Have I been fair to you?
Yes, absolutely.
I wish I could have pushed back some more, but how can I? I mean, Ken, Me and you had talked. I said, we're going to make Bill regret coming on this show. Remember that conversation?
We tried.
No, we didn't even have a damn. Ricky, where the hell was you been? You my tag team partner.
Hey, he had you squealing, and I didn't want none of it. I didn't need to get clothesline tonight.
But I'm going to tell you, you made me, maybe I like Buford. I told you, he was my hero. But when I said that earlier on the other show, that I didn't mean he was. I didn't believe he was capable of doing anything like that. No, but I meant growing up, he was my hero. Sure. John Wayne, and a lot of them was my hero growing up. And then they got me wondering, could this man have done that? You know, and now I'm back to in the middle where I don't know. I want to think he didn't. It would be better for everybody if it didn't. But who did kill? If Buford didn't do it, who killed Pauline?
Well, there's an entire chapter in the book on who did it, and they know who did it because they had a confession.
A confession. Now hold on, I've never heard of the confession.
Yeah, it's. Let me tell you how it went. Let me tell you who did it first, and then I'll tell you how it went. Billy Sue Johnson was Towhead White's girlfriend. Towhead got murdered in 1969. After he was murdered, Billy Sue went to a guy by the name of Rex Armstead. Rex was the lead investigator for the Mississippi Highway Patrol Investigation Division, which became the MBI. And she confessed. She said, here's how it happened. Towhead White, from his jail cell at the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary, ordered the hit for a number of reasons. Part of the reason he was in prison was because of Buford. Buford had killed his girlfriend, Louise Hathcock. He ordered the hit. He told Billy Sue to go to W.O. Hathcock, Dennis Hathcock's father, and get $20,000 from him. W.O. was holding all of Towhead's money while he was in prison for 3 years. And he told her, take $10,000 of it, keep it, give the other $10,000 to a guy named Bill McPeters in Corinth, who was the funeral director. Who I don't think he was a criminal, but he was a good friend of Towhead's. And Bill McPeters would pay the 3 people that were brought into town to do the hit. The 3 people were 3 of the most brutal killers of the Dixie Mafia. And the driver of the Cadillac was a guy by the name of Kirksey Nix Jr. Kirksey Nix Jr. is the only one still living. He's going to die in prison. The gunman was Jerry Ray James, and I think we have a picture of him. And when you look at Buford had never seen him before. And when he described him, he said a big guy, rounded face, slick back hair, and
toothpick.
And he was strong as an ox. He's a former college football player. Buford couldn't get the gun away from him. He was the gunman. He was from the Austin, Texas crew of the Dixie Mafia. The guy in the back seat was Bobby Joe Fabian. These were 3 brutal killers. And why weren't they prosecuted? 2 of them ended up in the Federal Witness Protection Program. They gave the...
You got proof of that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they gave the FBI the murders of 2 judges. One of them, federal judge John Wood, down in Texas, who was murdered by actor Woody Harrelson's dad.
Yeah, I knew about that.
That's the guy that gave him... He was in the same jail cell as the guy that ordered the hit, and he was recording the calls. Bobby Joe Fabian gave him the murder of Judge Sherry in Biloxi. And who did he give him? Kirksey Nix Jr., who's the only one left and who's going to die in a federal penitentiary.
Has he ever admitted it?
No, and he's not going to because the state of Tennessee has nothing to offer him. He's a federal inmate. He's in there for killing a judge. They're not.
Yeah, but don't he want to clear his conscience?
Well, I doubt it. I mean, he's a brutal murderer. He's killed many people.
I understand that, but when you get close to meeting Jesus, if you believe in Jesus, and I would assume he believed in Jesus. Yeah. I don't know the man. That's the first. Have you heard of that, Ken?
Kirksey Nix, yeah.
You've heard about his whole story he's telling?
He's quite well known.
Know about him and him kill the judge.
No, about his whole story.
No, I do not.
Okay.
Yeah, if you get in the TBI file, you'll find the confession.
That was in the files?
Yeah, it's in there. Billy Sue Johnson.
And they didn't mention that at the...
No. Billy Sue Johnson herself was murdered shortly after giving that confession.
Why did they not look at that confession and put any weight to it?
Well, here's 2 problems with it. Rex Armstead, he tried a ruse to get her to cooperate. What he did was he got her to come in to meet with him, and he typed up a note that he said was going to be a statewide dispatch. And it said, Billy Sue Johnson is cooperating with us. If she comes to your city, do not stop her. He wasn't going to do that, but it was a ruse. And Billy Sue lost her mind. She said half the cops in Mississippi have connections in the Dixie Mafia. I'm going to die if you put that out. He said, okay, well, then cooperate, and I won't. Well, you can't do that. That's coercing a statement. That statement would have been immediately suppressed. But they at least knew who did it because she gave a full confession.
What do you think? That confession was true, being she was give to her that way?
Yeah, I think it was because she also gave Armstead a number of other crimes, which Armstead did not document in the file.
Is any of these families, these people you've been talking about, alive?
Family maybe, but everybody's dead. Jerry Ray James, once he cooperated.
That guy right there?
Yeah, once he cooperated, he had 2 life sentences in New Mexico. And once he cooperated, they got the governor of New Mexico to commute his sentence, and he spent his rest of his life quietly with a new identity. They even gave him half of the reward money.
Is he dead?
He's dead. He died. His niece came out with a book or something.
Is he? Okay, he's got family.
Yeah.
Have they ever admitted that they knew he did that, or is there anybody that can back up that statement?
Well, there's a couple of books about him. One of them is,
but I mean, anybody can say, yeah, that was my brother and he did it, or my cousin, my uncle, my nephew.
I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think so. There's a good book. I don't remember the name of it, but it's about the Overton crew in Austin, Texas, which he was part of.
Right.
And what's funny is that book, it's in my book. I give a picture of the cover. On the cover of it is their car, which is a dark blue 1964 Cadillac. That's what Buford said the ambush car was. Wow. So the actual ambush car may have ended up on this guy's book. Bobby Joe Fabian, he gave him the murder of Judge Sherry. He ended up in the witness protection program for prisoners. They wouldn't release him because he killed 2 cops.
Right.
So minimum security prison, new identity, perks. Right. And he eventually died in prison.
Right.
So the only one left is Kirksey Nix Jr. Mark Davidson and Mike Parson actually went to talk to him, which I thought was funny. I mean, this guy is as hardened a criminal as you can get, and I've got the transcript. He just talked them in circles. They had nothing to offer him, so of course he wasn't going to say anything, and he didn't. He was trying to get out at the time on humanitarian reasons.
How old is he?
He's early 80s now, I think.
I've talked to people on death row through right here. I have talked to people. I talked to a guy, Gary Wayne Sutton. I've talked to him twice from death row.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's kind of, look at me, that's the first interview you ever give. I talked to him twice, and I think the man, if there's any, I believe in the death sentence, but if there's every innocent man, Gary Wayne Sutton needs to be looked at again. Maybe you need to investigate that one. This man, I think, needs to be investigated again. He went through all his appeals. He's lost them.
Yeah.
I understand all that, but there's too much, and especially when you do a show like this, I get a lot of emails, I get a lot of private messages, I get a lot of information behind the scenes. You understand how that works. It's tips, I call it.
Sure.
And I got a lot, and I turned them in on this guy.
Yeah.
It needs to be looked at because he's scheduled to be executed in December this year. And let's make sure, if we're going to use execution, let's make sure. Hell, they can't even give an injection now and do it right in Tennessee. It's a damn mess.
I bet they moved that one.
I hope they do.
I bet they moved
if we're going to execute these people, let's make sure that we don't come back 10 years and say, well, he was innocent. You know, once you do it, you can't take it back.
Yeah.
It's horrible, but I guess I do believe it. I push for it because, you know, there's times when there's some people that doesn't need to be executed, but I'm not God, and I can't make that decision.
Yeah.
But anything else you want to say, Bill, before I let you go? I think I've let you talk.
Yes, I don't think so. I just would say Kirksey Nix Jr., he has nothing to gain by
Remember
talking.
that name. Get me an interview with him.
Yeah, we'll bring him in, okay? In shackles.
I want to interview. You can go to prison.
You can. He's in the federal penitentiary. Yeah. He's in, I believe now he's in Springfield, Missouri, in the medical facility.
Talk to him.
But the point with him is Tennessee has nothing to offer him because he's a federal inmate and he ordered the killing of a judge. They're not going to deal with him.
Most people that's interviewed these guys, you can't carry equipment in, and you have to come out and you can't even write down on paper. You have to remember what they say.
Yeah.
But I got that Gary Wayne Sutton, got him to talk to me. First interview ever. I know I can't do this in Nick's guy, but get me hooked up with him. I want to go down there and talk to this man, and just make my own mind up. Satisfy myself. that there was a Dixie Mafia and Buford's story was true. And that's the only man, if they could really say, yeah, it did or no, it didn't, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, he might not even want to talk to me. I mean, but I'm just saying, I'd like to. Worth a shot just to see what he said. I come back and give you my opinion. I think this guy may have did that or no, he didn't do it. You know, it's worth a shot, right?
Sure, yeah.
Bill, everybody comes in the show, they take their time, and you drove a pretty good little way from Shelbyville to get here. That's up there around Nashville. And my friends at Golden Pond Distillery, this is a special, right here, special moonshine. It might even be an old family recipe. I'm going to give you a small bottle of that.
Great, thank you.
And I didn't have it. I just got these in. I didn't get to give one to my last two guests, but I run out. But here is a token.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know if they can be part of the Burr Street Mafia. You talking about all them other mafias. You're in the really, and I am the godfather, okay? But me and Ricky and now Ken, we do a little vetting while you're here to see if you're really, we'll let you be part of the mafia.
Yeah.
When you said
I get you.
Okay. So I'm going to make you an official member
Thank you.
of the Brewer Street Mafia. It tells you on the back of it. What does that say now? You got your glass.
Official Brewer Street Mafia member.
That's it.
Yeah.
Bill, I appreciate your time.
Hey, I got something for you. Can I give you a gift?
Yeah, I like gifts. And I've been eating and everything else.
I came across this, and I realized that you cannot be a Buford Pusser fan or collector without your own copy.
Oh, Lord. Wow. Whoa, look at that right there.
Hard stick.
Hard stick.
Can I read something? to show you the level of creative excellence that went into this. This is one line. He doesn't carry a pistol, doesn't carry a shotgun. Sheriff Buford Pusser's only weapon is a big hard stick.
Don't go home and play that tonight, okay?
Wow, that is great. He come up with that. He's got a great sense of humor, and he said, "Did you put that up when we had Mr. Elam on here? We was talking about that." And I said, "Is that really a movie or is that a porn?" Hard stick, folks. If you ever wonder if my producer is crazy, yeah, he is crazy. But that proves that Buford Pusser story right there is true, and they called it hard stick. That's good stuff.
The lady had it. I threw out a price of $5, and she said, "Am I paying you or you're paying me?"
Had you ever seen one?
I've seen the DVD, but I've seen it better.
That is so cool, man. I appreciate that. But it tells you in the back.
It's going to go right over there.
Hey, put it web on the wall.
Oh, yeah. That's going to go in a box.
Maybe in a shadow box.
Yeah, shadow box there. When was it?
Hey, put it behind his head. I want to put it behind his head.
Has anybody ever watched this movie?
It's okay.
It's
all right.
This guy right here, what is his name? He played a lot of westerns.
Brian Dennehy.
Yeah, Brian Dennehy, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he just, yeah.
There he is right there.
You know, what was that movie, him and they were running that guy through the woods, Brian Dennehy and Duffy? That was that movie. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Before I let you go, I'm not going to read a lot of them, but Ken has figured out how to get in and get all these emails about people writing in about our show. Kevin, have you got my the email address they can put up there? And it says, from McKenzie, Tennessee.
Oh, Lord.
Dear Mike, I love your show. I love seeing Ricky Price on your show. And it's from McKenzie. Real great man. Unfortunately, I'm his neighbor, and sometimes when he comes to the mailbox, he's wearing that kilt. Could you please tell him to put on more clothes? I would really appreciate it. Thank you, your loyal viewer.
And I wore this hat tonight. What are you talking about?
He didn't say that.
No, look at the hat on.
I had to add on a little bit. Because I'm usually the one they're jumping on.
I get it.
No, man. They did say they like Ricky. You're a great man. They're your neighbors, and they really enjoy our show.
Oh, boy, I'm scared now.
That's what they said.
Okay.
Would I lie?
I don't, you stretch the truth real good. I love you, brother, man.
I love you too,
man.
Do we have a Grady update at all on the stick?
Yes. Have you got the update from Grady? Let me give you a little bit of headline on this. Down at the Buford Pusser Museum, there's a picture of Grady off of Sanford & Son. And he's standing there holding his stick. And Ken come back in and said, have you seen that? He showed me a picture of that. And I could not tie in Fred Sanford, Grady, and Buford Pusser. Have you got that video to run, Kevin? All right, show me that beautiful bean footage.
Grady saga continues. Our team has been working diligently to find out how Grady ended up in the museum video. Where did he get the stick? Where is that stick now? Mike traveled to McNairy County and surrounding areas to find out, but no one seemed to have that answer. Even in downtown Adamsville, no one knew. Hopefully, we'll come to a conclusion
Are we
soon.
any closer to solving the Grady and the Buford Pusser saga?
We're not.
But we did find out that Ripple's a real thing.
Yeah.
You remember Ripple?
Oh, yeah.
I got a bottle of it over here. Yep. He found it down there at the Buford Pusser deal. I mean, wow. I mean, we was down there, and I was asking people, hey, how? And everybody was going, I don't know. Hell, I want to know. You're going to find out, right? I want the answer by next week, kid.
I actually emailed Grady's son. His name is Ron Mayo in Atlanta, and he said, I'm going to watch a clip of your show and get back with you. I haven't heard.
Well, I probably why.
Probably crazy.
Yeah, he's like,
Put him that hard stick and send it to him.
We got the hard stick. Put it up. Put the email address. If you got any comments about our show, look at there. Info, MikeWeatherfordShow.com. Send all your questions and comments. If you like our show, don't like it, we don't care. I mean, I can't please all of you, because I'm a trophy. If you're jealous about that, you can put that in there too. And Ricky's a trophy too.
I'm going to get away from you in that stick.
Info at MikeWeatherfordShow.com. Let us know what you want us to do, what you think about our show, what we should change, all the good and all the bad. I mean, do it. We don't care. Hey, I want to appreciate you coming in, Bill. One more time.
Thank you. I enjoyed
it. Coming in. It's been fun, and I appreciate this gift. I got a newspaper clipping from Mr. Elam, and I like it. I put it up, too, to save it. Pretty cool. Yeah. But I like this right there. I didn't even know that was a real damn thing to Ken. That's kind of how he took. How you like that, Ken?
Even I've never seen that.
Ken don't know.
Yeah, you stumped the producer tonight.
Oh, yeah. He'll call me. He'll say, he's got that wonderful voice. He's got, Mike, am I bothering you? I said, no. Did you know, and he'll start talking to me, did you know about Grady? I talked to his son. No. Yeah, he's getting deep and deep. And did you know that Ripple was a real thing? I said, no, I've got a bottle. We just found it down there where was that at? Where the
Shamrock.
Where the Shamrock was. He said, I found it. Yeah. So I'm going to tell everybody that Dixie Mafia drank that damn right there it is. They break that Ripple. That's what got them all wound up down there drinking that Ripple. All right, folks, we got to cut out of here. Hey, I appreciate it. Hey, I want to thank my crew in the back: Kevin Keel, Scott Norwood, Ken Axon, and Dana Allen. And without them, I couldn't do what I do. They do all the hard work. I do the easy part. I sit up here and just talk, and have a great time doing it. Thank my old buddy.
It's always a pleasure.
It's fun.
It's always. Leave the stick alone.
I'm going right here. I got my old hard stick.
All I said, man, beside the POW side, you can be missing in action for it all said.
No, I'm telling you, that is cool. I really appreciate that. When I seen the look on his face when you pulled that out,
you got him.
It was a shock.
It was a shock.
He stumped me on comedy and everything this time. I give up.
You'll talk that crap now. All right, folks, don't forget, next week we got a great show. We got Bo coming in. He's going to be talking about what it was like playing Buford Pusser. Yeah, if you hadn't had enough of all this, and I'm bringing in Steve Sweat. He's supposed to be one of the top-notch guys on Buford Pusser. I went down there and had a long conversation. I rode around with him. I even held some very cool Buford Pusser memorabilia. Cool stuff. I know a lot of
right there.
I got something. I got the big stick over here, hard stick. But I held some bullets that was shot out of his gun. I held some bullet holes. I held some very license plate. I held a lot of great stuff, and I had a lot of it. We got some good footage coming up next week, and we're also working on I would call maybe a little documentary that we're going to show you about Mr. Steve Sweat. He's very knowledgeable. He's the man when it comes to Buford Pusser. Anybody that wants to know about Buford Pusser, you go talk to Steve Sweat. He knows it. You know him, Bill?
Oh, yeah.
He knows it.
He does.
He knows it. Great guy, great friend. Don't forget, coming up June 13th, Katie's Kentucky Golden Pond is still. Have you seen a Bigfoot? Have you think you've seen a Bigfoot? Or if you want to hear about people that have seen it, I've got Martin Groves off Monster Quest is going to be there. Steve Causey, author of the book LBL Massacre, is going to be there. And I want you to show up. Last time we run out of room. This time it's going to be bigger and better. Get in your car just a few miles down the road in Katie's, Kentucky at the Golden Pond Distillery, June 13th, 5 p.m. It's going to be about Bigfoot and all the happenings going on about Bigfoot, the dog man, Ricky, Ken, might even be some Ripple involved in it. And I might even have my hard stick with me. You can't never tell.
I'm done.
All right, folks, tune in next week, same time, same place. Y'all help me out. And like I always say, tell them, Ricky.
Don't be late.
Don't be late.
With that hard stick.
The Mike Weatherford Show is recorded live at the Brewer Street Mafia Studios in downtown Paris. A Kill Media, Brewer Street Mafia Productions.